Alrighty, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about team building. Now, this isn't going to be like a core staple team building guide from the ground up or anything like that. These are going to be just a few tips that you should be following in order to build the best teams possible. Now, with these, you need to understand that there are going to be a few core philosophies for team building, and when we get those core philosophies down, it's going to be very easy moving forward. So what we're going to do is go from the most basic stuff, and then towards the end of the video, we are going to get into the more conditional advanced things that you need to know in order to make sure that you are building the best teams possible for whatever event you may be tackling. We're not going to actually play the events, but I'll give you some real event examples of things that we need to think about. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the first few tips that you guys are going to need. The first major team building tip that I can give you guys is you need to identify which character is going to be your leader and how we can take advantage of that leader skill as much as possible. Now, we are in an era of Dokkan leader skills where the norm is characters leading up to 3 categories and then also giving a bonus 30% to 2 additional categories. So let me pull up an example. Let's build a team for this, the sake of this video. What we're going to do is build a team around Tech Ultra Instinct Goku. I think this is maybe not a common character that everybody has, but a character that is going to give us a lot of wide variety in terms of the characters that we can use and how we're going to be able to make things work. So the first thing we want to do, like I said, when we are identifying our leader, let's go ahead and pull up the leader skill. So if you guys don't know, what you can do is hold down right here, and it's going to, on the leader skill like bar, and it's going to give you what we need. Now, this is a lot, but it's very simple, right? We just essentially need to read what's in quotes. So Universal Survival Saga, Realm of Gods, or Entrusted Will, and that's going to be our 170, and then we are going to get 30% to reps of U7, accelerated battle, or powerful comeback. So this character is going to be a 200% for U7, accelerated battle, and powerful comeback category characters that fit into the leader skill. So that is the first thing we need to do. Now that we have our leader skill, we want to start filtering characters. Now, this is a tip that I think a lot of people might not know about, but if you don't, I'm glad that you probably might, but you probably don't. So what we want to do is hit our filter right here, and then when we go to the category button, the game actually will allow us to look at characters in 2 different settings. The first setting is going to be characters that apply to all of the categories that you have selected. So let's just say, for an example, I want to find a Pure Saiyan and a Namekian at the same time, right? I press OK. It doesn't exist because there's a character like that just doesn't exist in the game, right? There's not a character that's a Pure Saiyan and is also a Namekian. Right, they would have to, because the way that Join Forces works in this game, like a Goku and Piccolo character, they're not going to be on either category. So what we can do in order to work around this, right, if we wanted to look at Pure Saiyans and Namekians, what we want to do is now press the partial button, and then we press OK, and now we can see all of the different Pure Saiyan and Namekian characters that we have. So you guys can kind of understand that is how things are going to be a little bit easier, and this is what's going to help us work on our leader skill. So this is going to help out a lot when you have a character like this that is leading 3 different categories, and then we can kind of filter out what characters are going to work the best for building the team. So the first steps that we've done are identified our leader and set the filter in order to get all of the characters on that character specific leader skill. So the second tip that we want to do is actually fill in what characters we're looking for. We're looking for Realm of Gods, we're looking for Universal Survival Saga, and then if you don't know, I guess this will be another tip, you can actually search for the categories on the top right with the little magnifying glass, and we type in Entrusted Will, we do that. So now we have 3 categories, we have it selected to partial match, and then we are going to press the OK button, and now we have all of the characters that fit under this UI Goku's leader skill. So for UI Goku's leader skill, we want to then apply our team building knowledge that we've used from other guides and stuff like that in order to make a team here. So the first thing, one of the major things we need to account for is the rotations. Now, typically with these team building guides, I always make this simple little mistake, even though I'm supposed to be giving you the guide, right? We need to account for the fact that we're going to be running 2 of Tech Ultra Instinct Goku, right? So the rotations that I would like to write for the work for this specific team are going to be a rotation with Ultra Instinct Goku, and then Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku right here. And then the next rotation I'm going to have on the other side of things is going to be Evolution Blue Vegeta with Ultra Instinct Goku. So now that we have the 3 core characters for our rotations, if you guys don't know how rotations work, they are characters that are going to stay together every other turn rather than every 3 turns. The floater is what we call them. They go to slot 3 and they appear every 3 turns instead of every other turn, right? So you're every 2 turns instead of every other, right? So that is how that one is going to work. So now that we have our 3 rotation characters, we then need to work on our floaters, who are characters that are going to be able to go in slot 3 and hold it down very nicely for us. In this case, I think the Gammas are going to be a really good option, as they are on Entrusted Will and they are going to be giving support to superheroes, and this is going to be a really good staple for the team with the support, with the offensive and defensive capabilities that they have. It's going to work out very nicely for our team. Now, the third thing we need to identify more floaters. So usually this would be a character who I would typically put in slot 1, but for the sake of this video, we will toss this guy on here as well. Beast Gohan, if you can include him on the team, you just put him on there, even if he's not in slot 1, just having him on the team is nice. So putting him in a floating spot or potentially doing a rotation with Evolution Blue Vegeta or the Friend UI Goku, that can work out just fine, right? I'm just trying to keep this one in theme of the Universal Survival Saga. So that is what I'm going to run for the floater. Now, the last floater that I would run on this team, now, really this one comes down to 2 options for me, right? We could potentially run a Universal Survival Saga version of, or not even, both of these characters are on Tournament of Power, right? We could run 17 and Frieza for their defensive capabilities, or we could run this character for their Rainbow Orb Changing. So for the sake of keeping it kind of in the theme, I'm going to run the Saiyan for the Orb Changing, and this could also change depending on the event that we're doing. So now that we've kind of built the team with our rotations, and let me show you what I mean, right? Let's go ahead and go over to like any event, and then I'll just show you what I mean, right? Okay, so this is going to give us a better visual representation of what I'm trying to say. You guys can see we are going to have 2 Tech Ultra Instinct Gokus on the screen, and then we are also going to have another rotation. So these are going to be both of our key rotation pieces, right? These are going to be characters that are going to hold it down in slot 1 or slot 2 for us, depending on the situation, and these characters are going to work out just fine. So now that we have that, we're able to kind of identify that we have a team here, right? We're using the core staple of a leader skill. We have our rotation set up, and we've also built the team to encompass the whole leader skill and not just one part of it, right? This is how you want to work with a multiple leader skill team, but sometimes it can be as simple as just focusing on one category, and that is what I'm going to show you now. So if we lock into one category specific, let's make this easy, right? Let's go with the Movie Bosses setup. This is a really common team right now because of the worldwide download celebration being very Broly themed. You guys can see on global, my box is not very sorted out for Movie Bosses right now, but that's okay, right? We can still get to the point. So with this specific setup, what we are going to be trying to do is set up as much as possible. So one rotation we can do for free is the legendary Super Saiyan Broly setup, right? And we're going to have another Broly, so we could potentially toss another Broly on the team right here. This Broly will run with the other tech Broly that we are going to have, and then we kind of just need to filter it out, right? So far, we have all uncontrollable power, and we're going to keep it that way. So we're going to run this Bio Broly right here, because on an uncontrollable power team, this guy is very good. We're going to have a support floater, which is going to be the Super Easy A STR Broly, and then we're also going to run Janemba for his Rage Mode and all the other defensive capabilities that he is bringing to the table. So that was very simple. We've covered a lot of the different typings. We have 1 typing, 2 typing, 3 typing. So the only typing we don't have, no, I think we have all 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we have all the typings covered here, which is going to be very good for the color wheel. You guys know how that works. At this point, we refresh. We could either run this version, we could run one with Broly, or with Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, or we could run one with the Carnival version of Broly, right? This could potentially work as well. So you have 2 separate options, and that is going to help us out a lot for like the core team. It's much simpler to build under a Carnival leader skill because of the 200%. It's just very, very simple, right? Like we don't have to think about it. We have all the different conditions that we are going to need for the team. The one thing that could potentially become a little bit of an issue is when you are running this character and this character at the same time. When they run on the same turn, you could run into an issue of not having links because of them sharing the same name. So what you would need to do is put the Int Broly in slot 1, but again, that's not really going to be a big deal. That character could easily hold it down in that spot. So we kind of have all of those bases covered now. So what we'll have to do moving forward, right? This is going to be sort of the last team building tip I can give for you here. Aside from just filtering out on categories, making sure we're focusing on links, the way kits work and stuff like that, is checking the details of a stage before you go into it so you understand what you are getting yourself into. So this stage right here, if we go to the enemy info, this button right here is going to tell us everything we need to know about Janemba, his effects, what he has, the categories that we have in case we need to look at this. And this is going to help us build a team a little bit deeper, right? Because we have access to all of the information that we are going to need, what this character is able to do, and we're going to be able to sort of work around that. But the major thing that I want you guys to remember from this is typing means everything, right? This game has really put an emphasis on type advantage and type disadvantage over the last few years, just defensively with the way that these characters are supering. When this Janemba is hitting a super in the multiple million damage range, you need a character that isn't going to be at type disadvantage that amplifies that damage. So when we look at the team formation right here, right, this Int Broly is going to be in a bit of a spot in this specific scenario because of the way that he is set up, right? He is Int, and you are basically guaranteeing that you're probably going to be reviving with this character. So let's just say you were spooked off of running Int Broly on the team. What you could potentially do is go over here and run somebody like the Broly trio and run that chance with their orbs, and this is going to help you avoid running the type disadvantage unit. We have a lot of type neutrality here with the physical characters, with the AGL characters, and a tech character, and then we have type advantage with the STR Broly. Now, if we go look at an event, so if we go to who's the character that locks, right? Let's so if we Global doesn't have this yet. Where is the Supreme Magnificent Battle, right? If we go over here to the Trunk side of things, this fight is a fight that is going to lock your characters in a slot, right? So if we go to phase 2, you can see if we know a character has lock character switching, we need to consider if a character is going to go into slot 1, if a character can stay in slot 1, or are we going to use a lot of characters that need to super first, right? If we know that a fight is going to have a lot of bosses that potentially could get you before you super, running a team like this is going to be good, but we also need to make sure that our floaters are like safe, right? So this guy is a floater, he's safe. These 3 as floaters are safe. I think these guys as a floater can be fine, but these 2 are potentially going to be in a little bit of a spot. So what you need to do is make sure that we can potentially limit that, right? So what we would want to do is take them off the team, and then we want to go over to the Entrusted Will side of things, as well as Realm of Gods, and then that is going to sort of give us the last thing that we need in order to set this team up. So Realm of Gods, and then we want to go to Entrusted Will. And then this character is going to do absolutely fine if he is being locked. And then a character like this can handle being locked, right? We just have to make sure that we are conscious of that as well. A character like this can handle being locked because of the damage reduction. But we now are able to set up a team that is a little bit more built for the event. They're going to be type advantage in the last phase, and it's just going to help the team work better. Is this going to be a perfect character for their passive? No, but it's going to sort of mask an issue of a character that needs to not need to super first, right? Especially if they super already, and then they super turn 1, and then you don't see them until turn 3. They get locked in slot 1, and they'll be okay. So there we have it, right? Stage details, all of the different tips that we are going to need to know for building teams in Dokkan. I always like to update this video every few months just to give the new influxes of viewers or even older viewers that might have forgotten a quick refresher on how to do it. So here are the big tips that you need to remember. Identify your leader skill, figure out your rotations, right? Take advantage of that leader skill by filtering it to as many categories as that character is going to cover. Then we want to set your rotations up, and then we want to identify the event we are playing and set up a team that is going to work best for the events by pressing the stage details and checking what the enemy is doing before we go in. That way we can take care of it easily. Links are very important, synergy is very important, but most of the time with these leader skills, the characters are going to have synergy if you just keep them to those leader skills. So if you have any questions down below on how to build a certain team, you can feel free to leave that in the comment section below, and don't forget to leave a like as well as subscribe before you go, so that way you don't miss out on any of the informative Dokkan content that we do around here. That's all I've got for you in this one, so don't forget to do all those things down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.